Some Southeast leaders are speaking up over the security situation in the region after Imo governor said the leaders must speak up now. Tonight, we dig more into the solutions for the region. And the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is working to get more members into its fold. Now it plans to roll out an e-registration process across the nation. Its newly converted governor is to head the committee. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloe and it is your midweek edition of the program. I will be your guide for the next 1 hour. So stick around everyone for the latest in politics in Nigeria. Let's begin tonight our program with some of the controversial stories, which is the Twitter story. There's an update. The federal government says the management of the tech giant Twitter has reached out for dialogue. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said Twitter reached out to the federal government today morning for high-level discussion. Take a listen to the Minister for Information.
Yes, what we are saying is that all platforms, OTT platforms, you must register in Nigeria. You must be a corporate entity before you can do business in Nigeria. Because they are doing business in Nigeria. Whether it's Netflix, whether it's Iroko, whether it is Facebook, they are doing business in Nigeria and they are making money and they are not paying taxes. That's the reason. In addition to being able to regulate them, they are making billions of naira out of this country and we are not paying tax. That can't be allowed to go on. Yes, as to the second question, yes, it is true. They've reached. Only this morning, I got communication that yes, they are now ready to hold senior level discussions with us. Just now, I can confirm. I just confirmed with my colleague now. Yes, I just got the information. Oh, why not? We will. But our conditions have already laid out to you. One, to do business in Nigeria, they must register as Nigerian companies. Two, they must be licensed. Three, they will have to refrain from using the platform for activities that are inimical to the growth of Nigeria. And by the way, Donald Trump has congratulated Nigeria, if that means anything, that's what he ought to have done. But that's just by the way. Now, I said that, so what happened in Lagos, where 37 policemen, 6 soldiers were killed, was not insurrection. 2, we kept asking Twitter, delete the tweets of Nnamdi Kanu. Under what, legal framework will it be right for a man to stay outside his country and direct that his members in Nigeria should kill policemen? They should kill soldiers. They should burn them correction centers. So I think this is no brainer that Twitter definitely does not mean well for this country. I didn't hide it.
You heard from the Minister of Information the latest on this Twitter saga. But before we get into today's conversation, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
President Buhari today presided over the Federal Executive Council meeting. At the end of the meeting, Council approved 2021 Supplementary Appropriation Bill to the tune of 895.84 billion naira. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, told State House correspondents that the total of expenditure is made up of 83.56 billion for COVID-19 vaccine program, covering 30 million vaccines from Johnson & Johnson, and the logistic costs relating to deployment of that 30 million vaccines. The finance minister equally disclosed that the council approved an aggregate sum of 770.60 billion naira to enhance the capacity of the defense and security agencies to address current and emerging security challenges in the country. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, is asking the federal government to upgrade the public procurement laws and tighten loopholes in contract award procedures. This, it says, is to avoid the recurrence of what happened between Nigeria and Process and Industrial Development Limited, PNID, which has led to Nigeria facing possible loss of about 10 billion United States dollars.
Nigeria had already suffered enormous economic reputational damage at the time when ordinary Nigerians suffer from economic recession.
And Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has once again reiterated his belief in a united Nigeria where peace can be guaranteed.
My belief strongly is that we are better in a united and fair Nigeria. And how we continue to preach that to our people.
And let's tell you also that Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, says it is targeting the country's social media space to grow its membership and take over political power at the center in 2023. The party was speaking today after the inauguration of the e-registration committee in Abuja. The governor of Edo State, who is chairing the 18-man committee, says the PDP will use digitized platforms to position the party for victory in the next general elections.
If you listen to the data published yesterday by the National Communications Commission or so, there are 188 million users of the telephones, so who have 188 million people who have digital telephone devices in this country today. That is even after the cleanup by, during the national identity card process. So we have 188 million people. How many people voted in the last elections? How many people are registered members of political parties in this country? So you can see the opportunity that the digital space holds and why our party must just be on that platform. For us as a party, like I said, you can't operate in the world today without technology, or even if you did, you'll be doing so suboptimally. So as we, with the opportunity we have just been given by the party, will now ensure that the first thing we do is to digitize the party register and then use the various digital platforms to now encourage more Nigerians to join our party.
So everyone, some updates for you there in your world of politics in Nigeria. And so let's get down to business of our discussion tonight. There are growing concerns on the state of security in the southeast region of the country, as leaders from that region are seeking ways to end the crisis. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, yesterday after meeting President Muhammadu Buhari, he said the leaders should speak up. For the purpose of this conversation tonight, let me remind you of what he said, because I like my guests to react to that statement. Take a listen to Governor Hope Uzodinma.
At a time like this in Nigeria, anybody watching his onions as a leader should be able to speak out. How many of them are speaking out? How many of them are condemning what is going on? Rather, what you see, leaders fanning the ember of insecurity, blaming only government. We must be tired of this blame thing by now, and then contribute our own quota towards ensuring that national security is not further threatened in the country. We should all get involved. In Imo State, as I speak to you, only me cannot restore security. Only me cannot guarantee security. I have to work with traditional rulers. I have to work with opinion leaders. I have to work with the youth leaders to be able to deploy a community kind of security program.
Yesterday, we heard one of the leaders in the region, the senator representing Abia State and a former governor of Abia State, was speaking about. He said that is unlike the Igbo people. But today we are hearing also from the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, who was speaking about the situation and has warned against politicizing the security situation. In a statement released today, the Enugu senator said, and I quote, "I believed initially that those were genuine concern about the security situation in the southeast. However, have come to the realization that those making an inducing statement are only playing politics with a very serious matter. The objective is to lift the foundation for the harassment and possible destruction of the opposition in the southeast ahead of the 2023 general election. It is on record that the Southeast leaders have at various times individually and collectively stated their positions on the challenges in the region, the concerns and demands of the Southeast people of Nigeria. Southeast leaders have also reiterated their opposition to the use of violence to resolve problems." So there have been a series of attacks on civil institutions in the southeast, INEC offices, police and military formations. But what is the way out of this situation? I'm being joined tonight by one of the leaders of the region and a sitting senator in the National Assembly representing Enugu North Senatorial District, Senator Chukwuka Utazi. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Senator Utazi, for joining us tonight. Let's begin the conversation from what the statement released by your colleague, the former Deputy Senate President, is making allusion to that what is happening might be linked into harassing political opponents or the opposition in the region. So does it validate what the governor of Imo State has said, that this insecurity situation is political in the southeast?
Well, thank you so much, Shehu, for having me on today. I want to say that before you get to the problem of insecurity in the southeast, as it concerns Imo, you first of all have to look at the trouble, the domestic problems in Imo. It is after you are able to extricate that one out that you can now come and start addressing the issue, the general issue of insecurity in the southeast. That one is different. So what I am saying, as far as this is concerned, is that the insecurity you are having in the southeast is not only peculiar to southeast. It is a national issue. It is the same with northeast. It is the same with northwest. It is the same with south-south. It is the same thing with southeast and north-central. So this issue is everywhere, and that is why that last time you were able to see the southern governors, meeting in Asabal Delta states, and they come up with certain issues to address these challenges that are facing the southern part of the country. And it is not until you get to all those issues raised and discuss them extensively and exhaustively that you can arrive at a solution to them. If you don't do that, you are just beating about the bush. It can be likened to the issue of looking at the effect without getting to the cause. So it is only when you get to the cause that you start talking about. But if you want to be superficial, if you want, like the former Deputy State President said, you want to go into politicization, that's a different kettle of fish. But you have to get to the root causes of these issues. Once you get to the root causes of this insecurity, then we can start thinking of how to provide solution to solve these problems. That's the way I say it.
I beg to probably differ because looking critically, this security situation is something that we've discussed extensively on this platform and on this station. And one of the issue, looking at it critically, the security situation in the northeast region may be a bit different from what we're seeing in the northwest and in the north central. What we're seeing in the southeast is slightly different. We're seeing coordinated attacks on civil institutions, INEC offices. There are 50%, over 50%, in fact, of the INEC offices attacked across the nation. 42 of them in the last 1 year have happened in the Southeast region. We've seen continuing attacks on police and military formation in the Southeast region. Slightly different from what you see in North Central and Northwest. So let me ask again, when the former Deputy Senate President, that these attacks are towards 2023 elections, do you agree?
Well, what I want to say, Shehu, is that you have the problem of insecurity nationwide. It is not just only peculiar to Southeast. But I want to tell you, the reactions may be different, but the same thing, you have the same problem of insecurity is still there at the background. So in the Southeast, yes, you have the attacks of the police formation and the police offices, INEC offices and their property. In the Southwest, you still have the same thing. They burn the police offices and attack INEC offices and property. So these are the issues, you know, and it is left for the security or the agencies in the place, and ditto the police, the army, the DSS, to look into this issue critically with a view to unraveling these people who are doing this. These people are not spirits. The people who are doing all this are not spirit. They are humans. These are people, the hooded people that you call unknown government that do all those things. Let investigation be carried extensively to unravel those people who are doing all those things, so that you can now come with solution. Not until when we get to these issues, you will still be basing everything we're saying on assumption. And with assumption, you cannot solve the problem. So that's what you want to say. But behind all these issues is that the issue that I say that we have problem of insecurity nationwide, not peculiar to only the Southeast. And that has informed the Southern Governors Forum to come up with the issue of that this is that there are areas in the country that they are not comfortable with, and that we want the presidency to look at these issues with a view to find a solution to them. These are the critical issues that are over there. And this is because of that, because you have agitations. Every part of the country has one way or the other, in one form of agitating to show that they're not happy. So you will find all those issues, and then we'll have to come back and look at them. You know, come to the Southeast, for example. I want to tell you that the issue of the farmer-header clashes is giving a lot of concern to our people. People can no longer go to the farms. The headers that we used to have in the Southeast before were the ones that are wielding sticks. Today, they are not only moving from the barrel, but to AK-47. Before you know it, people deal with you. I'll give you one instance. In a case happened in other rice farms. If you come to Enugu State and you know Uzodinma, in my local government area, we are purely agrarian. Farmers went to the farm, and after farming, around 8 in the night, they were coming with motorcycles. And before the river Obina there, the headers came out there, and we were shouting, halting them to stop their motorcycles. And it was dark. These people moved on and refused to stop, and they were shot. You know, so this is just a problem. This is part of it. If you go also to some other parts of Uzodinma, at other rice, at Ugu rice, before Panda, the same things happened. The farmers from Ako in Igweti local government area that are migrant farmers in those areas, they were attacked. These are the issues we have. And you remember, in 2016, I was crying from one radio station and television stations all over Abuja then, after the attack of the Nimbo people in my constituency. You remember that time that I was there? Well, that's 2016. It was a very big issue for me. And then we moved around from all places. Now the whole thing degenerated. Many people are no longer. It wasn't only me now crying at the floor of the National Assembly. Now they have so many senators crying like I did. And we are still continuing doing that. So this is the issue. So you have to look at the issue about these people who are moving with AK-47 that are cleaner people. Not until you address this issue and address it exhaustively. You will not. You'll be just trying to look at the effects, not in terms of solving the causes of these problems. So it is an issue in that area. Beyond that, people are saying that look up at the state police. Before, many people didn't agree. Today, it is a common issue for us in the southeast and even in the southern part of Nigeria. We want a state police so that we can help, because we have experimented and worked over the time with having the police, unitary command of police at Abuja, and trying to look at this with the people at the state level. And then you find the governor is the chief security officer, but he's not in charge. We have looked at all those issues, and we have come to the conclusion for us in the South that it is very, very important that you are allowed to have a state police in an area to help us face the issue of the insecurity we are facing in that place. So it's very, very important that we have to look at these issues. But if you continue just trying to generalize or try to play politics with it, you have not solved any problem. The insecurity, many people cannot move to the farm. Not to talk of the kidnap for ransom, not to talk of the banditry and all that. You know, and we have said that these people that have made people not able to go to farm these days, how do we go about it? You know, you must disarm these headers from moving with AK-47 so that they can be civil and they can discuss with our people. If you don't do so, things will become difficult. Next year, we are going to face a lot of challenges in terms of food security in this country, because many people have not farmed. This year, this is a farming season in my area. How many people can go to farm? They are not going anywhere. And we are here just speaking grammar and talking politics. This is not this. So we have to look at this issue and make sure that we solve it, and solve it once and for all.
I mean, each time I have opportunity speaking with lawmakers, because lawmakers are government, you are a chair of government. So the question still comes back. Some of the lawmakers are agitating and speaking about what is happening and what is wrong. The question is that what have you done to change the status quo? You are in government. You are just a stone throw away from the Aso Rock. You can make laws. You can oversight and make sure that things change. But just before I allow you to respond to that, let's take this news just in. We've been informed that the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has suspended its industrial action after over 2 months. The union had on April the 6th embarked on the strike, shutting down all courts nationwide to demand financial autonomy for the judiciary instead. News just coming in that Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has suspended its industrial action after over 2 months. All right, let's get back to the conversation with Senator Utazi. So it's a question. The reason why some of your constituents voted for you is because they think you will go to Abuja to give them solution. But when you speak like this, it does look like you are helpless. Why are you helpless when you have the power to make a change?
Well, that is, thank you, Sheun. As a legislator, it is our duty to make the laws. And it is left for the executive to carry these laws we have made into effect. And when we profile solutions that we want the executive to look at it, it is our expectation that the executive will take it seriously. And part of the problem, part of the way of solving this problem is the Constitution Review Committee of the Senate of the Federal of the National Assembly, this 9th Assembly. We are looking at all these issues. Number one in that we are looking, this is the problem of insecurity is this state police. We hope that is going to come. We also want the political system we are operating here to be restructured, to allow the states, to allow the geopolitical zones to have a say in most of the ways the things are being done here today. We'll also want to free the 68 items in the exclusive legislative list. We have to look at them and see how we can get them, then farm them out and get these the federating units to have more powers to do things for themselves. These are that's concerns with devolution of power. It is in this that's what we are doing as lawmakers. We are coming to it. We also want this issue of the insecurity that is in the land, that where people are having guns and all that. We'll look at all this holistically and see also how we are going to find solution to that and make sure that things work for our people. So the constitutional amendment that we have in place now, we as lawmakers, that's the only thing we can do. We don't have executive powers to come and say we carry things into effect. The governors that are already that the executive, the governors are executive. They are complaining that the way things are structured, they cannot carry anything they want to do into effect. Because the governor is the chief security officer, but he has no powers to do things directly. He still have to go and call somebody who is in his state as a commissioner of police, who will want to refer to Abuja before he want to respond to certain things there. So how do you want that thing to be? Why are we running away from the way things used to be before? Before we came to this place where we are today, we used to have native police officers. We used to have things done well before. That's why we want to say, now let us have a return to what we used to do before. We used to have a federal system. We had in the 90s is a three constitution. Give us all those powers that the regions have power to get things done. Yes, military took over. And after the military took over, they changed the things. What the Decree 43 of 1966, they changed the things. Yet now that we are in place to get things done, through this constitutional amendment, we want to return to return to true federalism, the way things should be done. Not the way we be complaining. We say we are federal, but we are unitary in practice. So we want to come and look at these issues properly and say if the military has made mistake in the past by making a federation to unitary when it is supposed to be federal, now it is our duty to look at those issues and know how we can return back to order to make sure that we have true federalism. And not only just that, fiscal federalism too, so that the states and the region will not continue complaining to Abuja. They will be in their places and carry things into effect. They will do things for themselves and move at their own pace.
Senator, we are out of time for this segment.
Yeah, part of what we are saying.
We are out of this of time for this segment, but in 30 seconds, if you can just respond to this question, because a lot of people have attributed some of the agitation we are seeing in the Southeast to the thinking of an average Southeasterner and some Nigerians that power should shift to the Southeast in 2023. Do you think is just fair? Is justice, a matter of justice, is a matter of fairness that power goes to the Southeast, and perhaps that would have some tension? Just in 30 seconds.
Well, going to talking about just moving power and changing the person who is at the Aso Rock with a red cap like me is a peripheral. It's beyond that. You know, so, and then nobody is get fooled when you want just to change a red cap with the traditional outside cap. No, we want more importantly to look into the issues of restructuring of this country. We want things to be done so that we can move at a pace the way we used to do it after independence. We want to look at the way so that the regions can have powers. Most of the infrastructure put in place today, we are all done by regional governments. Why are we now coming back to Abuja with a begging bowl every month to take things back to this end? Let the regions bring the money. Let the geopolitical be giving money to the center, not the other way around. Let us return things the way it should be done so that this country can move. That's the only way we can make a headway. Telling the Southeasterners you want to just become the president is not just it. It's not just it at all. They are right as a part and parcel of this country. But beyond that is that we want more entrenched reforms. We want, which we are supposed to carry out in this review of the 1990 Constitution as amended we are doing now. We want the executive to be courageous enough to talk to themselves, to allow what we are doing, what we will come out with, so that it can become law at the end of the day.
Senator Chukwuka Utazi, Senator representing Enugu North in the National Assembly. Thank you so much, Senator, for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me here, Shehu.
We'll take a break, and when we return, we switch gears now and talk about the electoral process, the law, and INEC, the institution responsible for elections. There are a lot of issues affecting INEC, and we dig deeper and unwrap some of these issues for you after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us, and welcome back to the program. Nigerians have consistently clamored for an electoral law, one that will help deliver credible elections in the country. The law is under amendment as we speak, but so far it has gotten perhaps nowhere from some people's point of view, perhaps a stake that may gladden the hearts of some Nigerians. But we'll be getting an update on that. INEC, on the other hand, the umpire is facing huge challenges from personnel to attacks on its offices. Tonight, I'm being joined on the program by the chairman of the Senate Committee on INEC and the former governor of Kano State, Senator Kabiru Gaya. He joins us from Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight. The last time you were on the program, Senator, you made a promise to me and my audience on this program, and you said that the next time you will be on the program, you will give us a very good news about the Electoral Act amendment. There are about 2 or 3 times people have gone to the National Assembly to protest that where is the Electoral Act amendment? And the reason people are agitated about the amendment to the Electoral Act is because of the elections. They want an election that is credible, free, and fair. Yeah. And the only way to do that is the enabling law to make that happen. It seems so much that things are quiet on the Electoral Act amendment. Where are we at, Senator?
Well, so we're on track, and you remember I came here last time, and we had a discussion on this Electoral Act, and I told you that we from the National Assembly have promised the Nigerians that we get the act from our own side passed, and then expect to send it to the president. And we are working on it. For now that the committee has done its part, it's just for us to present to the National Assembly, that is the Senate, on the floor of the Senate for discussions. And once that is done, it means we will do concurrence with the House of Rep, whereby both the House of Rep chairman and the committee members of Electoral Election Committee, then with the start of the Senate, we are going to we're working together as a team. So therefore, there's nothing like coming up to do either harmonization or whatever. Whatever bill we have is the same thing will be produced from the House. So we are on track now. We will be back in the next 2 weeks, and within those 2 weeks, 2 weeks period after our resumption, we'll be able to get the bill passed. And I assure you that all our members in the Senate, represented from all parts of the country, will go through the bill and give us their blessing for it to be passed. But I think we did a lot of work for almost a year on this job, and I believe we are coming out with something good for Nigeria.
Senator, yeah, you are on track, but it seems your movement is a bit slow because the last time, the timeline seems to be shifting every other time. You are almost 2 months from my calculation from the timeline you set, and last year you told me by March this would have gotten over with.
We're not out of track, but you have to also remember how the Senate works. There are a lot of other bills in the process and online, like we have the PIB bill, which is just a bill that will generate funds for the nation. It's also very important. We also have the Constitutional Review Committee, which is also extremely important because there are some issues in the Electoral Act that even if you pass the Electoral Act, you find that the Constitution needs to amend those sections. So I believe what we are doing, the most important is not a matter of time we spend, but giving a good job or a good product out. It's not a matter of how long you stay on a product, but producing a good one. And I believe that we are producing a good one. So I've been telling Nigerians that we are on track and we'll be able to deliver by God's grace.
Perhaps this is not the first time I've been following up on electoral amendment process, even the ones that were signed and the public didn't know what was happening and never got used for an election. That one went like that. But Nigerians are more concerned now about the process because of the elections. They want to be involved in electing, they want to be involved in determining their future, electing those who will determine the future, the leaders that will lead them. And so they want to be more involved in what is happening. So the question now is that there's been a lot of suspicion from Nigerians? Because when you told me last time that March it will be you'll get it over with, and in March, after March, you said, oh, in another 1 or 2 months it will. So I guess that's the reason for the suspicion from some Nigerians. Can you now give us some kind of precise date that Nigerians should expect it? Because there is an election in November in Anambra. People think that we might be able to use the amended Electoral Act to execute that election. Isn't that getting too late? When can we precisely get these over the line?
You see, what we do in the National Assembly is produce the bill, the act, and then after that we pass the president to sign. So I'm telling you, we are on track. We are not losing the position, and we are not telling Nigerians that we'll do this and we're delaying it. No, we are not. We have as I told you, we have other bills that we are processing, but the Electoral Act is very important so that we can have credible election, so that Nigerians could be happy that they are voting who they want, and they are getting the result as they decided, not as somebody decides for them. So I believe, saying we are on track and we are not shifting the goalpost. We have remained there, and we are going to make sure that we get it done. The amendment is virtually over. It's just for the committee to give us a date, or the Senate committee to give us a date when to present the bill on the floor. And we are just waiting for that time. And I'm sure we have a PIB. After that one, they go to and then the constitutional review. I believe within the next few days, as we resume, we'll be able to start on these bills.
Because, you know, Senator, you're politicians of several years. And one of the things you always say during your campaign is that the people should be able to hold you to account. You're accountable to the people. And so the question I want to know is, we want a precise date or week or time of the month that you will get this out of the National Assembly. Can you promise Nigerians, can you give us that date? We are in June of 2021, the 6th month of the year, and yet we do not have a word on it. So give us a precise date if that is the only thing that you will tell us tonight, Senator.
Well, I agree with you, but I'm not the presiding officer in the Senate. But they are the presiding officer decide on when to submit this. But I'm telling you that I'm ready. My committee is ready now. If I submit as soon as we come back from this break, I will do so. So I'm just waiting for the date when the Senate gives us the date to lay it on the floor of the Senate. But let me reassure you that even the presiding officer, the Senate president, everybody, the leadership, and all of our senators are committed to getting this bill passed. So let Nigerians be rest assured that we will get it passed within. Well, if you are putting pressure on me, I'm telling you we're going to get it within next month, latest. And I believe that by that time, when the bill comes out, then Nigerians will be a bit happier with what we have.
Okay, next month, we are in June. Next month is July. And hopefully, but in July also, we'll give it to you first week in August, where we will try to invite you again on the program and get an update. But let's look into something.
Well, by the time you invite me in August, I will come the bill passed by the Senate, and then I hope before then the president would have signed on the bill. Because I'm sure we have worked together with the people from the Office of the Attorney General, and the opinions are there for whatever we have in the bill. Therefore, even if the president would request the opinion of the Attorney General from his office, definitely they were part of the meeting we had, all technical committee meetings we had, and I believe they will agree with what we have in that bill. So therefore, there may not be any obstacle on getting another second opinion on the bill, because they are part of the parcel of our discussion throughout the process of the amendment or re-enacting of the Electoral Act.
One very worrisome situation is the attacks on INEC facilities across the country. We're seeing 41 or 42 of those attacks in just 1 year. And INEC has warned that it will affect their operations in delivering credible elections. What are you doing as a Senate committee that has an oversight over this commission?
Yeah, first of all, it's unfortunate for INEC offices being burnt down. These are property of the federal government and property of all Nigerians, that this is a place where elections are conducted, or at least results of election are compiled for delivery to the national headquarters. And therefore it's an important building. But for Nigerians to go around and burn these INEC offices is going to affect in spending more money out of taxpayers' money to rebuild another one and then be able to now equip it. I believe, I appeal to all Nigerians who are, or the hooligans who are doing this kind of attack on INEC offices and the police stations. I think it's not fair. It's not even in the interest of any Nigerian, because nobody will be happy with what is happening. And I appeal to them that they have to stop. And then for those found wanting, I think the law should take its due course. And from the INEC office, the headquarters, we invited the chairman, we discussed with him. And they said, well, it is unfortunate this is happening. They can only rely on the police security and the few security they employed. But definitely they cannot be able to man the security of all the police headquarters in the police offices in the 774 local governments. Is quite difficult, but I'm just appealing to Nigerians that banning a property of a federal government which belongs to them too is uncalled for.
Today,
so which means now we have to look for the funds to rebuild those offices, which was not in our budget. Which means we now have to find ways in which INEC should now find ways of getting money to rebuild these offices. Part of some of our offices are also need renovation, but now we have some offices being burned down, about 45. And that's a lot, a large number, and that is a lot of money we're spending on that projects. So therefore, I'm appealing to Nigerians who are aggrieved, please do peaceful demonstration. Don't burn government properties. Don't, because those properties are in your location. They are your properties. And when you burn them, you're burning government property. You're burning where people will supervise elections or be able to conduct elections, and you don't want them to conduct elections in that constituency. I know we may find it a bit difficult in trying to rebuild those things, but we'll do our best before the 23 elections and complete those buildings.
Give us an update on what is happening. There seems to be some disagreement on the floor of the Senate today when the Senate President was asking your committee to consider the screening of the aide to the President on social media, Loretta Onoche, which the Senate Minority Leader raised an objection over. What is the stance of the committee on that appointment or the nomination of that appointment?
Well, the Senate is a place where you express your opinions, your own opinion for the interests of your own people. And you are free to say anything you think that from your own view, you have a reason for saying so. But to us as committee members, the Senate just submit this name or forward the name to our committee today. So definitely, previous month, it was not in our hands, so we had nothing we could do. Now they have submitted to our committee. The committee will sit down and look at these members submitted to us. Some are national commissioners, some are electoral commissioners. We'll look at those positions and then do justice what we are supposed to do. And I assure you that the law is there, and Senate is a place where you can debate and raise your opinion based on what is by the law. So therefore, we will look at the names that are submitted to us today, and we will call a meeting and discuss with the members of INEC committee from the Senate, and then screen those candidates. Those are eligible to pass, we'll pass them. Those are not eligible to pass, we'll submit the list to the Senate for the further deliberation. And that's the procedure.
Okay, so talking about the procedure, so some of the reference being made.
The minority leader, yeah.
Please go ahead, Senator.
Hello?
Please go ahead,
The minority leader has his own views. The minority leader has his own views. It was just a motion raised by the majority leader that the nominees for the president be read on the floor of the Senate and then be submitted to committees that are relevant to the nominees. So that's why it was raised and then submitted to, or passed to the committee. By tomorrow, we will now receive a letter submitting the names of those people for us to find a date when we will sit down and screen those candidates. So the minority leader has his views to say, and finally, whatever we decide at the floor of the Senate will be the final say.
Because the reference they're making is to the relevant law guiding appointment into INEC, subsection 2B of that portion of the law says that anybody to be appointed, a member of the commission shall, in the B says, be a person of unquestionable integrity and shall not be a member of any political party. That's on one hand. On the other hand is the subjection of the nomination of the president, first and foremost, to the Council of State for those who will be member of the board of INEC or the National Commissioner. Has the president submitted or committed that first before sending it to the National Assembly?
Well, to us, if the president submits a name to the National Assembly, we believe all other processes that are supposed to be done before submitting, the president should have finished their own part and then submit to us. And when they bring to us, that is the time when we will do our own part. So presumably all that is expected about the clearance from the section of the presidency, it should have been done by now. And secondly, there are other also criteria like the code of conduct, is the tax clearance and so on. All that are to be submitted with their CVs to the National Assembly. And based on that, we'll look at those criteria. And then by what you raise now from the Constitution, we'll look at those sections of the Constitution and be able to screen the candidates.
So another issue here in terms of the appointment, there seems to be some problems on the board of INEC. Starting from the national commissioners, there is a shortage, and this has been for several months. There are people of the school of thought that why don't you get people who are presently senior resident electoral commissioners to be national commissioners as we speak. The tenure of 5 years of all 27 recs out of the 36 appointed in 2017 are due, and it's been delayed, and they're supposed to leave in another 6 months, if I'm right, to the 2023 elections, which some people who are critically looking at what is happening in INEC have problem with, because this is the same thing that has happened before. When you appoint people very close to election, they've tried to find a fit and trying to land the job before the elections. Are you worried about that kind of situation where for several months we have spaces for national commissioner and recs also are due to be out of jobs?
Well, to be frank with you, there is the issue is based on the time when each commissioner is being screened, not screened, square in as a commissioner. The times are different. That's why now we have this number of vacancies that have not been occupied. So the list, we have about 7 or 8 now, and still there are some that are going to resign in the next, or to finish their tenure in the next 6 months or so. Well, it is a continuous process, we cannot just say stop it or change their tenure, or at least line them up like when senators come at one time and go, 100 of us come at one time and go at a particular time. But this one are nominated or elected, nominated officials of the government. So it depends on their timing. They have a limit, and they have to go within the period specified for them to serve there. So we cannot say that because they are close election, they are learning. But all the people they are bringing, most of them, all of them are qualified to be either electoral commissioners or national commissioners of INEC. They are qualified, so they could learn within a short period of time. But what they really were worried about is to have a quorum, to have a majority while they have meetings. Likewise, the numbers are less, and you find that the number of commissioners they have now are not really enough to form a quorum in their discussions. So that they need us to clear these commissioners and the national commissioners, electoral commissioners, to join them and be part of the process of governing in that institution.
So, I mean, the reason why I'm asking this question is also for effectiveness and also for the issues of fairness, because we see a situation in the ongoing extension of polling units and in the planned continuous voter registration. We see national commissioners from the southern region monitoring the process in the northern region, which is against some of the laid down procedure of how INEC works. Isn't it your duty in the National Assembly to oversight over the executive that makes the nomination and appointment? Because a lot of people already have a problem. The fact that the procedure through which the executive takes his nomination is faulted, is flawed, because it has to go to the Council of State first before it gets to the National Assembly. But it's coming to the National Assembly without confirmation that it's gone through the Council of State.
Well, let me say it clearly. I think we should not look at this situation in the future, because you find that in such a situation that one commissioner has handled about 2 states. He's been overstretched. But the issue that we do not have those vacancies occupied, or at least people being approved for that vacancies. Therefore, what I'm suggesting in the future is that if your commissioner is leaving the next 6 months, the government should start preparing and submit a new name, or a name that could occupy that position as commissioner from X state or Y state. And if the process takes longer in the assembly or otherwise before submission, then the delay may not affect the tenure of that commissioner. Maybe if he leaves immediately, by the time we have screened a candidate, he's ready to wait for about a month or so before the other persons resign and he take over that position. So there will be there will be no problem of vacancy. Unoccupied positions, whereby you have a commissioner running his job for 2 commissioners. So certainly we believe the executive should also change the time of when they will submit names of nominees, and we from the National Assembly, we should try to act fast. The time we receive their names, we should be able to call them immediately and deliberate on the candidates and screen them and pass them or otherwise.
We tried in our own job is also to put pressure on those who are supposed to do some of these things, we journalists, but it's also the job of the National Assembly to oversight the executive to get their jobs done because of the civic space and the democratic process. Thank you so much, Senator Kabir Gaya.
In that process, we are also putting pressure on the executive to make sure they submit names as early enough for us to screen any nominee for the president to take any other position. So we are putting pressure. You are one of the major architects on putting pressure on politicians, and we are taking that pressure to do our job well.
Thank you, Senator, for coming tonight. Senator Kabir Gaya, the chairman of INEC Committee in the National Assembly and the former Kano State Governor. Thank you so much indeed. It's always a pleasure. So don't forget the invitation that you give us the update as soon as you get that signed, the Electoral Amendment. So every Nigerian should keep their calendar.
Invite me anytime you are ready. When the project is done, when the bill is passed, I will let you know so you can invite me to the channel television and then tell the Nigerians and the world how far the National Assembly have done.
Thank you. Yeah, so Nigerians, mark your calendar. The Senator said by the end of July, we should have an amended Electoral Act. Will they keep to that timeline? We'll all be here to keep pressure on those who are the helm of affairs. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching tonight. I'm Sean Okimale. Bye-bye.